Hello, friends. Today's book is called Fireboat, The Heroic Adventures of the John J. Harvey. And this goes with our tribute to September 11th. And this is a book to do with that. It's a really beautiful story. It's actually even beautifully written with the words on the pages. They're even cool. New York City, 1931. Amazing things were happening, big and small. The Empire State Building went up, up, up. Can you see that? Tilt this a little bit. Babe Ruth hit his 611th home run in Yankee Stadium. I gotta get used to this. The tasty treat Snickers hit the stores. The George Washington Bridge was suspended elegantly across the mighty Hudson River. Champion Penley, calling of Blarney, won the best in show at the Westminster Kennel Club. On a hot and jazzy night, the word hotcha was invented. All in 1931. And on a sunny, fresh day, the John J. Harvey Fireboat was launched. There were 12 fireboats in New York City. The Harvey was the largest, fastest, and shiniest fireboat of them all. Look how great he was. Fireboats work by taking water from where they're floating and pushing it through when there's a fire. And it'll push through all the hoses. And so they can, for the buildings that were near the water, they could put out the fires really well because they could get close with a lot of water. It had 5 diesel engines, so it could go 20 miles per hour, which is pretty fast. 8 pipes that could shoot 16 gallons of water per minute, equal to 20 fire trucks. A control dial in the pilot's cabin, a completely round steering wheel, many brass nozzles housed in the gold room, a very nice can of oil for all the squeaks, ropes, called lines, and lots of levers, buttons, and buckets. There was a pilot and a crew ready in 2 minutes to fight the fires. They were a brave group. And there was a dog named Smokey who did not put out the fires, but had really nice spots. The Harvey went up and down the river fighting fires. It fought fires at the bustling piers. The piers were the places where ships and trains brought all manner of merchandise to be sold in the city, like wood and cotton and bananas and bubblegum and everything. So they would come in and they would unload the big tanker boats would come in and out of the piers and drop off all their goods. And they would sell them in the city. It fought the fire of the great ocean liner, the Normandy. Sometimes the Harvey just went out to shoot water in celebration, like maybe 4th of July or something. Many years passed. A new captain had come on board, Bob Lenny. He and his crew fought many fires, but New York was changing. The Twin Towers were now the tallest buildings in New York City, and the piers were closing. The world was changing, and they were delivering goods in a different way. And they ended up having to make some tough choices about that fireboat. In 1995, the city no longer needed so many fireboats. The Harvey was considered old and useless. It sat in the water for 5 years waiting to be sold for scrap, so they didn't need it anymore. The buildings were taller and they didn't have as many issues in the piers, and so they decided to sell it. And then a very surprising thing happened. A group of friends were eating at a restaurant called Florent. They'd heard about the fireboat and decided something. Let's save the Harvey. Let's buy her. Everyone needs a fireboat. We won't put out fires, but we'll just have fun. And they did. So they bought the fireboat just for fun. They took it to Cadell's ship repair yard in Staten Island. Even there, they said, she is old. It will be hard to fix her. But the owner said, fix. And so they fixed beautifully. They repaired the 2 propellers, making them new with shiny coats of brass, because brass does not rust. They repaired the holes with steel plates and covered the places where the rivets wept. They scraped barnacles and seaweed off the hull and painted her with a shiny coat of red paint. Just for fun. Tim, the engineer, keeping things running smoothly. Jessica, the assistant engineer at the controls of the noisy engine room. Oh, whoops, I forgot this line. And once again, the Harvey was on the water. Tim, the engineer, keeping things running smoothly. Jessica, the assistant engineer at the controls in the noisy engine room. Andrew welding, Chase helping, John fixing, Tom cooking. Everybody's helping each other. They all have different responsibilities. Huntley at the wheel, and Bob Lenny watching over everyone, being very proud. They made friends with the only other fireboats on the river, the Firefighter and the McKean. Everyone said, "The Harvey's a nice old boat, but she could never be used to fight a fire. Never." Toot, 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 toot. A boat says hello with 4 toots. But then on September 11th, 2001, something so huge and horrible happened that the whole world shook. It was 8:45 in the morning, another beautiful and sunny day. 2 airplanes crashed into the Twin Towers. Crashed into these 2 strong buildings. The sky filled with fire and smoke. The buildings exploded and fell down to the ground. Many people were hurt. Many lives were lost. The news spread. The city had been attacked. Everyone was terrified, but people were brave. The entire city sprang into action. Firefighters and police officers and doctors and construction workers and teachers and cooks and children and parents. The mayor was strong. He said, "We will all work together. We will not be broken." Remember, we'd been talking about helpers. There's always helpers, always, no matter what. What were the people of the Harvey doing when the planes hit? Balblenny was trimming hedges. Tim was drinking tea in his kitchen. Chase was walking his dog Radar. Tim was reading the paper. Andrew was welding. Jessica was writing a story. Huntley was reading Debris Copperfield. John was working. The Harvey was snoozing at the pier. They all had one thought: get to the Harvey. And they did. They called the fire department. "John J. Harvey, ready to help. How can we help?" The answer came: "You can't help fight the fire, but you can ferry the people to safety." Ferry the people to safety means pick them up and take them away from the dangerous spots of the city. But suddenly an urgent message came loud and clear. "John J. Harvey, where are you? We need you. We need you." The water pipes were broken and buried because the firefighters couldn't get water to shoot the fires in the buildings because the water pipes were broken. And the fire trucks that had raced to the scene could not pump water. The firefighters attached hoses to the Harvey. The Harvey fought the fires alongside the McKean and the firefighter. Look at that. So Harvey was back in the game, baby. Yeah, getting old, but not less useful. For days and nights, the Harvey pumped water. The crew took turns sleeping. People brought supplies: fuel, sweaters, gloves, pizza, sandwiches, and coffee. They worked and cried. They fought the fire until it was under control. Helpers. Finally, it was time for the Harvey to go home. Everyone on the boat had never seen anything so terrible, and they had never felt so proud. The Harvey was a hero, and everyone knew it. The Harvey won an important reward, the National Preservation Award, John J. Harvey, for capping a distinguished career of service by coming out of retirement to provide invaluable aid in New York City's hour of need, October 18th, 2001. And the ceremony, the audience cheered, and some even cried. Now the Twin Towers are gone. Something new will be built. The heroes who died will be remembered forever. The Harvey's back to being a very happy boat. Not scrapped, not useless, not forgotten. A proud and plucky friend, and all that's left to say is hacha and thank you. Wait a minute. There is something more to say. The friends of the Harvey have found a little tugboat to adopt. Doesn't everyone need a tugboat? The end. I like how it looks like water. Isn't that a good story? They thought that the Harvey was going to be useless, but old doesn't mean useless. Just means reliable, I guess. And so the Harvey, the John P. Harvey, was very reliable, and they counted on it to be there. And those people who owned the boat, just because they didn't know how to fight the fires, doesn't make them useless too. And just they were helpers in different kinds of ways. There's always ways to help, always, and always choose to be the helper. Because remember when we talked about bucket filling, not only do you fill the bucket of the person that you're helping, but it also fills your bucket too. And that's so important. So I hope you enjoyed that story. I remember where I was on that day when all that happened in New York City. I was a kindergarten teacher's assistant, and I was still in college. And I remember I was far from my family at the time. And so I remember talking to my mom on the phone that day. So things like that, big things in your memory, just sort of stick around sometimes. Anyway, I hope you have a great day, friends. And remember, today, be a responsible helper. Okay? Talk to you later. Bye.